Well, it is D-Day for the Russia-Ukraine war, the day Donald Trump set as a deadline for a ceasefire. The Kremlin has overnight confirmed US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin have agreed to hold an in-person meeting in the coming days. And here was Trump speaking overnight.
They would like to meet with me, and I'll do whatever I can to stop the killing. So last month, they lost 14,000 people killed. Last month.
Now, this comes hours after US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff met with Putin in Moscow, Trump describing it as a highly productive meeting where great progress was made. Joining me now for more on this is Sky News contributor Bo Davidson. Bo, thank you for joining me. Look, if Trump can pull this off, what will it mean? And should he get the Nobel Peace Prize if he indeed is able to bring peace to this long-running war?
Well, Danica, I think it will mean that he will be the most consequential president of our lifetime. I think this has been kind of ramping up now for a while that would be said. Ronald Reagan famously said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." And I think that what Donald Trump is saying is, Mr. Putin, tear down this endless, senseless war. People are dying by the day, by the droves, and it's got to stop. That's what kind of moment this is. So, yes, of course he deserves the Nobel Prize, but he's been ramping up that for a while. He de-escalated India, Pakistan, Thailand, Cambodia, Egypt, Ethiopia, Rwanda, and the Congo, and the big one, Israel and Iran. So this could be his biggest one yet. It would be the first meeting between a U.S. president and Vladimir Putin since, I think, about 2021. But let's also be sober about this. You know, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said there's still a lot of things that have to happen before this meeting can take place. But the tariffs go into effect, as you said, and the heat is on Putin. He can do this the easy way or he can do it the hard way. But he's got to make a decision for his people. And I just, Danica, find it ironic that Democrats would have made up this entire story to say that Russia helped Donald Trump become president so that what? He could put pressure on their president to stop their war? I don't think so. I think that Donald Trump has been made and prepared for a time such as this. And I can't see any other leader at this particular point in time who's better suited to adjust this and to make peace happen in this region.
Yes, well, the Democrats are continuing there with their delusions, but you're right. I mean, if he can pull this off, this would be an incredible moment, not just for America, but also for the world as well. So stay tuned. We'll be watching very closely. Now, Donald Trump's higher import taxes on dozens of countries have just come into effect. Some are even going as high as 50%. But obviously, I mean, countries around the world are scrambling now to respond to this. Here in Australia, our base rate remains at 10%. But what has actually been the impact locally in the US? Has this plan been a success, or are there industries suffering?
Well, you mentioned, some are as high as 50%. I think India got 25% and another 25% for purchasing Russia oil, which is a topic we just mentioned. Tariffs have always been a negotiating tactic for Donald Trump. They're designed to generate investment, to boost growth, to boost jobs, to boost employment. I think that's what it's always designed to do. Now, we have seen some countries retaliate. I want to mention that this has happened. Canada, for instance, has retaliated against the U.S., especially with regard to American bourbon. But that's pretty rare. Over the next several months, as industries react and respond to these tariffs, we could see higher prices. We just haven't seen a lot of that yet. The Trump plan overall, of course, is to rake in all this billions of tariff revenue, which is to offset other taxes, like, for instance, an income tax, because tariffs are like taxes to us. So if that plan is true and we can offset something like an income tax, that would be brilliant. And also we could possibly even give rebates to Americans. That's another idea that's been floated as well. I just think that we're a little too early in this process to be able to tell. Our government does subsidize farmers. That's one way we have offset tariffs in the past, but we just have to wait and see. I'm personally going to remain optimistic about this, Danica. The main reason being is that when Trump initiates a tariff, usually a country freaks out and comes to the table with something better. So let's just take a pause on this because we haven't seen the economic downturn and spiral that I think a lot of people thought that there would be. Bill Maher has acknowledged that. And let's just see kind of what happens as industries respond to this. I'm going to remain optimistic about it.
Yeah, look, fair enough. Let's see what happens. But you're right. I mean, a lot of countries have come to the negotiating table. Not Australia. Let it be known. Our Prime Minister is still yet to have a meeting with Donald Trump. We're all waiting for that one. Now, look, Bo, I've got to ask you, is America about to turn the page and be burdened again by what has been? Because former Vice President Kamala Harris has announced she's not going to run for California governor in 2026, but is not ruling out another bid for the White House in 2028. Good grief. So, look, we thought we'd take us through the archives. Here we go.
The children of the community are the children of the community.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present.
Bo, it still sends shivers up my spine seeing that, seriously. But, you know, is America ready for possibly another round of word salads?
Danica, I like caprese salad, I like wedge salad, I like Waldorf salad, but I cannot stomach another Kamala Harris word salad. That is just too much freaking burden for me to bear, for all this country to bear. You know, it's funny that she frames her work in terms like leadership and public service. She has never led, nor has she ever served the public. If you don't believe me, ask any of her supporters. Name one accomplishment Kamala Harris has, and they can't do it. And I actually think this is a mistake, Danica, for her not to run for California governor. You know why? Because I think she would have actually won. California Democrats are dumb enough to elect her again. She can't win an American election in terms of the country, the presidential election, but she could have actually won the governor's seat in California. But think about this, just bigger picture for a moment. You have two failed female Democratic candidates for president, Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris. They're both females, right? America didn't not elect them because they were females. It's because they were the wrong females. They didn't have the right policies. They didn't have the right communication styles. They didn't have the right affability. And I personally, Danica, don't think Kamala Harris is the Democratic candidate in 2028. I think it's going to be someone like a Governor Josh Shapiro or a J.B. Pritzker or a Gavin Newsom or a Gretchen Whitmer. The problem overall is that Democrats have a brand problem. They don't have policies. They can't campaign on anything other than Donald Trump sucks. And they're going to have to do better than that. So I think Kamala sitting this one out is actually a bad move because America won't elect her. They're never going to elect her, but California actually would have.
Yeah, you know what? I think you raise a very good point, and I just hope, for goodness sake, that we are not burdened by what has been. Bo Davidson, always lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it.
Good to see you again.